Anyone else see that movement? Okay. Frame drop. I'm just gonna restart. Man, I did not eat that much food. I don't know why I'm burping. But I am gassy. Oh, it did it again! Hey, it did it again! I clicked right and it moved left, everybody. That's so cool. It did it again. Yippee. Also, I did notice I dropped like 2 frames. So that could be... Did it do it again? I wasn't paying attention because that part didn't have anything to die to, so I was just moving over. Did it do it again? I'll lose my mind. Actually lose my mind. Okay, we were fine. Close as fuck. Oh my god. Yes! Yes, it's over! I can play Geometry Dash again! Let's fucking go! Yes, dude! Was I recording? Okay, thank god I was. I can play Geometry Dash again. Holy shit! Holy shit! Yes! Oh my god, I don't know whether to laugh, cry, or throw the biggest party I've ever fucking thrown. This was the most mentally taxing thing I have gone through in any game. And it's not even close. Oh, it's over. Yes, it's over. Let's go. No ending chokes. Yes. Yes, dude. Oh my, I mean, I'm taking the headphones off because you can't even hear the music. Genuine euphoria. I cannot believe I finished this off. I cannot believe this shit, dude. Oh my god, I fucking did it. I fucking did it. Okay. I'm gonna try my best to regain myself. And YoReid, however you pronounce your name. YoReid? I don't know. A, okay, if you're watching, A, let me know how to pronounce your name. B, I have some criticisms. I'm gonna try to make them constructive. And then after I give my criticisms, I'm going to kind of explain my journey with this level because I think it's worth talking about. I think at the very least it's interesting to talk about. I don't think there's necessarily like a deep, profound message to be learned from it. Although maybe you'll find some, but I think it's worth talking about the experience I had with this god-awful abomination of a creation. So, first of all, this level, is it good? No. This, like I say, this is the least fun I have ever had playing a game. Ever. Any game. And when I say game, I mean like the quiet game that like your 4th grade teacher did to get everyone to shut up in class was more enjoyable than this. You know what I mean? I mean any sense of the word game. Any sense. This was nothing but demotivating. Just like I don't even have words for it. I mean, it was we need to invent new words to describe how terrible this experience was. For those of you that aren't sure why, allow me to explain. So, how do I explain this? I mean, I almost, when I was playing this, I almost wanted to take a day off, write down all my thoughts so that I had a script to read when I beat it, because I knew I would be in this state where I'm just fucking discombobulated. So, okay, starting out learning this level. This is a very difficult minigame level, right? Like, this is insanely difficult. Like, you don't need to actually play the level to tell how precise some of the stuff in this level is, right? Like, there's insane movements going on in this level, right? It's incredible. Like, the amount of precision you need is unmatched by any other minigame level in history. And you have to do it all perfectly. This isn't like an I want to kill the Camellia thing where you can die a bunch, but as long as you make it to the end in the time limit, you beat the level. No. You need to fucking ace this level. Like, you need to have it down and do it perfectly. To a T. And as I was practicing, I wasn't necessarily enjoying myself, but I was getting fairly consistent with certain parts and getting to the end every now. You know what I mean? I did the thing where I copied the level, used the start position practice that's set up in the level, whatever. There's a nice little tutorial in the level on how to practice the level, which on the surface level I was very grateful for, and I appreciate that. The problem is, and there's a lot of problems with this level. The first one I'm going to mention is that when you're playing from zero, your little character vibrates a bit. And on the surface, that's kind of neat. Adds a little atmosphere. Makes it feel like, you know, either like a bunch of stuff's falling past them or like there's wind in their face or something. You know what I mean? Like the atmosphere that adds. It's minimal, but it's nice. Yeah, that's cool. Whatever. The problem is when you do start position practicing in the level, after attempt 1, that shaking doesn't happen. And you might be thinking, well, what does it matter? The hitbox is going to be the same, right? That's where you'd be wrong. The shaking that happens with your character is also your character's hitbox, which means that like 3 or 4 pixels to either side of your character when you're doing practice runs with the start position would actually be killing you on the main level, right? So if you just barely brushed by the left side of something, you probably would have died from zero doing that, right? So trying to practice it was, you got a good feel for it, and I'm not saying the start position practice was pointless, but trying to do any sort of meaningful practice on this level was almost impossible because the tolerance, the like forgiveness tolerance you have is noticeably lower from zero. Like, there was shit I was doing, and it was like, oh, that looks good, and then I died because I, like, shook just a little bit into an obstacle. Like, especially in Mirror at 63, where, like, you have to split around that one block. That was ridiculously hard in practice, and then with the shake was even worse. So, just a minor thing, YoReid, however it is. I'm gonna say YoReid, but that might be wrong, let me know if it's wrong. Minor thing, just get rid of the shake. Like, if you take that out, practice and playing the actual level are the same, which is like very nice and fair and good. And that little bit of shake, I don't think adds enough atmosphere to justify it being there and artificially buffing everything. You know what I mean? It was pointless. It was pointless. It really was. It made it really hard to judge your momentum when you were swinging left or right, because I'm pretty sure that little bit of shaking still happens when you're moving left or right. Yeah, but just a minor thing that I'll mention, get rid of the shake. Now, the major thing, the controls don't work. This was my biggest problem with this level, and this is what a lot of people have cited as their biggest grievance with Falling Maze. And by a lot of people, I mean L. Hunter, the only other victor of this level that actually gave their thoughts on the controls, because as far as I know, Nexus was just like, wow, what a cool minigame, and uploaded it casually in 2 days, and Cool Dash thought this is one of the coolest things he'd ever seen and thoroughly enjoyed his experience, which, fucking, I'm happy for you, Cool, but I need you to know that when you were telling me that, I genuinely was just, like, viscerally angry at you. And nothing against you, like, I'm not mad that you enjoyed the level, but it was just like, as I was playing this, it was so clearly like, how in the fuck can you enjoy this piece of shit? Yeah, no, but here's my problem is the controls, like, didn't work. And I don't know why, but there was never a point in this level where I did an input and knew exactly what was going to happen on screen. Ever. And part of the problem is that there are custom physics-based controls for this level. Left goes left and right goes right, but it's not a linear thing where you hold left and you move left at set speed and then you let go of left and you stop, right? You hold left and you slowly speed up to the left and then you let go and you slowly slow down to a stop, which in theory is fine. And that's quite difficult, but if it's done in a fair way, in a consistent way, then it is entirely fine to put it in your level. The problem is, there were multiple times where I clicked right and barely moved. I had multiple clips of me clicking right and moving left. I think that might have been in the completion attempt. It's probably been like 10 minutes now, I have no idea. But I clicked right and would end up moving left a little bit, which, like, if that's in your level, just throw away the level. Like, genuinely just don't publish it. Or publish it and plead everyone to not rate it, because this is clearly just a proof of concept at that point, right? Like, getting any sort of control out of my rightward movement specifically was fucking impossible. And I don't know what about it was so much different from leftward movement. Leftward movement felt difficult, but fair. I very rarely moved to the left aside from like 63 in the mirror part and some of the switches in the castle part, moving left was pretty much fine. And if I messed something up, it was probably my fault, right? I think some of the stuff that you were required to do was so difficult that it shouldn't have been my fault. You know what I mean? Like this, for example, the swing over to 63 in the mirror part where, you know, you split around the block. That's so precise for the fucking controls in this game. Like, that was not okay. So I don't know why, but all of the rightward movement felt completely RNG to me. Whether or not I got a good starting acceleration, when I let go, when I stopped, felt completely random. A great example of this was going for the second coin, that big swing around on the second coin. There were times where I thought I let go early and it just wouldn't stop. Like, it just sent me flying to the right of the next opening. And there were times where I let go what felt like super late, and my thing did a fucking dead stop. Like, on a dime stop. Like, there was no swing out, no deceleration. It just stopped moving the second I let go. It was bizarre to me that the controls of the level were this inconsistent. And this is my biggest gripe with the level. If the controls just worked, then this would have been maybe not fun, but fine, right? It would have been tolerable because, yes, everything's super precise and difficult, but at least your input does the same thing every time. You know what I mean? Like, at least when I click right for 1 second, I move over a set distance, no matter when and where I clicked right and held for 1 second. Do you know what I mean? That was my biggest problem. Other issues with the controls, if you clicked both sides at the same time, that was obviously a no-no. That's fine. But if you let go of one and then quickly clicked the other one, you know what I mean? If you did two inputs, either two on the same side or one on each side, in quick succession, like too quick of a succession, you would either, A, barely start moving in the second direction. So like if I held left, let go and clicked right like a little too fast, I would either like basically do a fucking like Tokyo drift like tire skid and not get any rightward momentum for like half a second, or I would like fucking skyrocket to the right as if it was doing like a 90-degree turn. You know what I mean? Just like a fucking just immediate. And it was completely random which one you got. So you have to learn this level intentionally planning your pauses between clicks. Or not doing that and hoping you get the fucking like immediate pivot instead of the Tokyo drift tire skid. Like, you know what I mean? It was just like, holy shit, this doesn't control. It just doesn't. Everything could kill you in this level. Any input could have killed you in this level. Nothing was consistent. Nothing was fair. This was awful. Another detail is that because of the way that the game was made, the mini game was made, you pretty much have to run it at 60 FPS. If you run it any higher, I don't think you're going to get any good, consistent frame rate, and that's going to make the controls abominable. Now, the problem for me is that running the main level at 60 FPS was almost impossible. As you can tell, this is not my usual recording setup. Hi, hello, hey, how you doing, everybody? This is my phone camera pointed downward at my laptop screen, and the only thing I have open on my laptop is Geometry Dash. I closed and ended the task for Discord, like in Task Manager. I made sure that I didn't have anything else open or running in the background. I closed every program I possibly could to get as many frames out of this level as possible. And I made an LDM copy of this level, which removes almost 10,000 visual objects from the level. None of them were visual nerfs. Anything that was in front of the player at any point in the level, I left in. But like a lot of the background elements, a lot of the like unnecessary details, like the books scattered about the mirror part and some of the pages I took out, right? Just like little optimizations here and there, like, you know, like a glow thing on a block design that looks really nice but is completely unnecessary. Like, I optimized all of that shit down 10,000 objects from like 60-ish K to like 50-ish K, like I think 63 and a bit to like a low 54. You know what I mean? So like 9K, 10K objects. I was still getting frame drops, and the frame drops in this level don't necessarily matter. Like, sometimes they'll fuck with your controls, but you can get a frame drop that doesn't affect you. But if you got the frame drop before the lasers at the end of level 2, like the little like bullets, little fireballs at the end of level 2, those are now desynced, and the pattern that you know to get through them doesn't work. And depending on the setup, it could be impossible to pass. And that was really, really irritating, and I didn't realize that that was what was happening until I closed everything on my computer and did some testing. And if I didn't drop a frame, or I dropped maybe like 1 or 2 frames, you know what I mean? And then got to the lasers, they were passable. And sometimes I had to do some micro adjustments because the one laser was a little later or whatever. But like, you could pass the part. But if I dropped like anything more than 5 frames, anywhere between 0 and the end of level 2, the lasers didn't work. They didn't line up right. They were offset in some weird pattern that was completely unpredictable, and it was either impossible or so very difficult to the point of basically being impossible. So there was a point with this level where if I dropped any noticeable frames on level 0, 1, or the beginning of 2, I just immediate restart, like just pause restart. I mean, I'm not even sitting through it because it's a foregone conclusion, which did not help this level's enjoyment at all. This is a disaster of a creation in so many ways, which sucks because if it worked how it was supposed to work, I do genuinely think this would be really, really cool. And maybe not my thing, but I could understand why people enjoy it, right? Because the game design ideas here, right, where each level introduces a new concept, executes it interestingly, expands upon it, and then moves on. And then at the end, you have your quick fire recap of all the different ideas, right? I really, really liked that element about this level, but it doesn't even matter because the level doesn't play, right? You can't play the level. So it didn't even matter that I liked the game design shit, whatever. The level was unplayable, so I don't care how nice it looks or how cool it is in theory. You know what I mean? It's like putting lipstick on a pig, if you ever heard that expression. Like, it doesn't do, it's still disgusting. You know what I mean? Like, it's still a disgrace. Just blows my mind. So yeah, my experience with this level, this is where we're gonna break this down because I think this is worth pointing out to people, at least mentioning why I went for this level in the first place, why I found it so terrible, and the events of last night, which stick around. So I started playing this level because I noticed that Cool had done it somewhat recently, and was claiming that it should be Insane Demon. And that's another thing I'll talk about, whether or not I think this is insane or extreme. We'll get to that. But Cool was talking about it, claiming it should be an Insane Demon. Hunter, who had also beaten it, and a few other people who had like tried it out or at least looked at it, were like, yeah, maybe this should be extreme, you know? And I was like, well, I want to have an opinion on this, right? I want to give it a go, right? Have a go at practicing it at least, right? And I was practicing it, and I was like, holy shit, this is terrible. Like immediate impressions. I was like, oh my god, this is unplayable, right? But I was like, you know what? You know fucking what? I'm gonna be just like purely fueled by spite, and I'm just gonna sit down and learn and beat this level, right? Hunter took about 3 days, Cool took about 3 days-ish, I wanna say, you know what I mean? Like a comparable amount of time, right? I was like, okay, let's sit down, let's learn and beat Falling Days. Let's just do it. It's, you know what? I'm gonna have to beat it eventually. I'm not planning on anyone hacking YoReid's account and making the level free, you know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be a thing where I'm just gonna have to sit through this at some point, and it doesn't really matter when I do it because it's not Geometry Dash. So I'm just gonna do it now, right? So I sat down and I started learning it, got a little bit of practice, but I discovered that the lasers desync in level 2, which made practice mode impossible. So then I got a practice copy and was doing it through that, which worked okay. Oh, and yeah, the lasers are desynced if you do a start position. If you do the start position practicing with the copy, the lasers are still desynced, whatever. But you know, I was practicing it, playing it, whatever. First day, didn't make a lot of progress. Second day, same deal. Third day, I got to... I have all my Falling Maze far deaths here, and they'll be in the description. So if you're intrigued, they're there. But I got to 75 on my third day, right? And I'm like, okay, that's decent progress, right? At this point, I've poured like just over 3K, maybe 3.5K attempts into the level, which is higher than both Cool and Hunter. Higher than Hunter by like 1,000, higher than Cool by just a little bit. And I don't know about Nexus, but if I'm being honest, I'm not 100% convinced Nexus's completion of this level is legit, just because I don't believe that anyone can learn and beat this level that quickly, immediately after it comes out, and not just absolutely hate themselves. I'm kidding, Nexus, I love you. So, I got 75, right? Whatever. Then, the following day, I got up to 79, and then the following day, yesterday, so, So up until this point, I'm fucking pissed at this level. Like, I'm viscerally angry every death because none of them feel like anything I did wrong. And if it is something I did wrong, then I'm mad at myself. But if it's not, I'm mad at the level, right? So I'm just in this terrible state where I hate everything about this level, right? Like I say, least fun I've ever had playing a game. Like, viscerally angry at everything about it, right? That's good. That we like that. But then yesterday, I start playing this level and I'm getting far more consistently. Like, I had a lot more attempts get to, like, 70s. I get like 75, 76. I had like a good 3 far attempt stretch that was 75, 76, 76. And at the end of that, the third of those 3 deaths, I get really angry. I yell once, and then all of a sudden, I'm lightheaded. I can't feel my hands. They're like tingling. You know what I mean? Like a nerve sensation in like the pinky and whatever. I'm like a little nauseous. I'm like on the verge of tears. All yesterday playing this level, I was on the verge of tears. Like, just please, just fucking end. Just end. And I can barely stand up straight. I'm like dizzy, lightheaded. I'm just out of it, dude. I was just completely out of it. Like, physically, mentally, emotionally exhausted from this level. I wanted to cry. I wanted to scream. I wanted to laugh my fucking head off. I wanted to bash my head in. You know what I mean? Like, I was just in the worst mind state possible. I lay down for a bit, I get up, I look down at my hands, and I notice that my pinky joints have turned a nice shade of purple magenta. And I'm like, oh, that's not what pinkies look like, so I immediately do some research online, and I find that it's high blood pressure, checks out. And then I'm thinking, well, what was different about today, though? I was getting even angrier at this level yesterday, and it wasn't doing this, so what's new here? I didn't realize I had downed a Baja Blast Freeze from Taco Bell on the way home from work before I started playing this yesterday. And that was a good bit of caffeine, you know what I mean? Like about a can of soda's worth of caffeine. And caffeine can cause a sharp and immediate spike in blood pressure in some people, which I didn't realize. But that was probably a good bit of what happened yesterday. So I just needed to, when that happened, I had the, shock of everything. My pinkies are no longer purple, for those who are concerned. We're good. But I just took the day off. I'm like, I need to take a step back and reassess my mindset, because the mindset I had was not healthy, right? I was at a point where I was just like drilling into myself like an absolute like need to beat this level. It's like, no, you don't need to beat this level. Like, it'd be nice to beat this level, and we're not going to be happy when we die far, but like, just like chill out a little bit, man, right? Maybe take a step back and assess priorities here, right? So I didn't play it all yesterday, and then today I came at this with a much different mindset, like vastly different mindset, and it went a lot smoother. I was still nervous at parts and whatever, and I still feel a little jittery from yesterday. I'm not gonna say I'm fully back to good health. I mean, I am now because I beat the level. This is a huge weight off the shoulders, but oh my god, yeah, it was a miserable fucking experience. As for whether or not I think this is an extreme, I absolutely do. 2257 on this, plus 1030, and then on the main I had... I'm just going to do the math on paper. I don't even give a shit. I have a piece of paper over here. Here, look, my far deaths, and also some highlighter scribbles, because I was bored one time. 955. I've already forgotten the other numbers. But this was abysmal. Like I say, this LDM is going to be up on my account, so if anyone else wants to go for it, go for it. I would highly, highly recommend you never touch this piece of shit. But, I'm not going to stop you. I'm not going to stop you because I didn't stop myself. All right, so I'm doing the math, like just literally I'm actually like on paper doing the math. 5, 5, and 3 is 10, and then 14. Okay, 14, because I carried the 1 into 12. 4,242 attempts. 42. Awesome. 42 attempts. I have no idea how Hunter did this in like a half of that attempt count. I have no idea how Cool did that in like 3/4 of that attempt count. This is, no doubt in my mind, extreme demon worthy. And the point that Cool had made was, if you are bad at Geometry Dash, you can approach Falling Maze, learn it, and beat it faster than you can in entry-level Extreme. Sure, I don't disagree with that. But to me, if people who are beating Extreme Demons somewhat regularly are saying that this is harder, or as hard or harder, than Extreme Demons, make it an Extreme Demon. You know what I mean? Like, it's clearly the hardest minigame level. So I think that having the hardest minigame in the game, which is this level, be an extreme, is like that's a worthwhile, you know what I mean? Like that's a worthwhile thing. But then also I think this is just genuinely extreme demon worthy, right? I honestly think that like 4 years ago, if I had ground out something like Kata or Accu or whatever, I mean Accu didn't exist, but you know what I mean, like an entry level extreme, it would have taken me a comparable time count to this. I really do think that. I really honestly do think that. And I think that if the controls in this level worked and it didn't lag like crazy, you know what I mean? Like if this level was built correctly, yes, I could understand Insane Demon. I think it'd be I'd still advocate for extreme, but I could see where people are coming from when they say it should be an Insane Demon. To me, this is so clearly an extreme. Like this is in my top 20 completions, difficulty-wise, of all time. No doubt about it. Even considering the fact that it's not really a GD level, like just the actual like skill required to do this, I think is more difficult than the skill required to beat like Kata, Accu, any of your low-end extremes, high-end insanes, any of that, right? I honestly think that this takes more precision, more skill, and is more difficult just on a raw level, starting from 0, than Kata or Accu. I really do. So this is absolutely extreme in my mind. Now, how long have I been rambling for? I'm just curious. Oh my god, this is going to be like a 25, 30-minute video. But that's okay, it's worth it. So, YoReid, whatever. If you're watching, for whatever reason, just like hit me up on Discord. I'm gonna put my Discord in the description. Hit me up. Would be more than happy to tell you my thoughts on the level and how you can make this a somewhat enjoyable thing. I know fixing the controls is probably borderline impossible with how the level's set up. I get that. Fixing the lag, same deal. But if you want me to LDM the ever-living fuck out of this level for you, I'm more than happy to do it. I've already sunk 10k objects out of this. I'm more than happy to go even farther with it if you need me to, and I would absolutely love to share my thoughts on how to make the level feel more fair and more enjoyable, because there were specific moments throughout the level that I thought were a problem. Like I say, the shaking overall, just hit me up, man. Like I would love to see this level be something that people actually go for and enjoy. But this, like I say, this is the worst thing I've ever done in a video game, while simultaneously being one of my proudest achievements because of it, right? I'm so genuinely proud of myself right now, not because I beat Hard Thing, but because I put myself through the fucking physical and mental torture that is Falling Maze. Like, you do not understand how elated I am that I do not have to touch this flaming garbage heap ever again. I need to extend a heartfelt apology to every level I've ever given a 0 out of 100 enjoyment on, because I did not realize just how low that scale could go. And I think Memory for Dummies, Want Me by Para, I'm sure there are a Fast Lane, I'm sure there are a few others I gave really low enjoyments to. I need to like specifically apologize to those levels, those creators, because no, your levels were fine because your levels were Geometry Dash, and at the end of the day, I love Geometry Dash. This level was not. And now that I've beaten it, I can give it the biggest, fattest 0 negative billion out of 100 enjoyment I've ever given anything. And I can finally go back to playing the game I love, which I'm probably rusted at because I've been playing pretty much nothing but Falling Maze for like 5 days now. So that's cool. We like that. All right. I'd say, let me give this a vibrato, but this level doesn't deserve a vibrato. It doesn't even deserve me saying I'm going to end the video. I'm just going to, at some point in the middle of this sentence, I'm just going to stop the recording. And that's going to be how the video ends, because I don't think this level deserves any sort of climax whatsoever. This fucking abomination is just like the worst.